Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we break down the mysteries of everyday life. Today's question comes from one of our inquisitive viewers, Mic'd in 87. Thanks for the suggestion, Mike. You asked, how does wireless charging transfer power without cables? Let's be honest, wireless charging seems like witchcraft. You put your phone on a pad, and somehow it starts charging. No cables, no plugging anything in, just pure futuristic energy transfer. But how does it actually work? Is it magic? Spoiler, no. Let's dive into the science behind wireless charging and find out why your phone isn't just absorbing power from the air, even if that would be way cooler. Right here on Explaining Everything. Before we jump into wireless charging, let's quickly talk about regular charging. Normally, when you plug in a charger, electricity flows through the wires and directly into your device's battery. It's like filling a bucket with water using a hose. Simple, direct, and fast. But with wireless charging, there's no physical connection. So, how is energy transferred? The answer lies in a scientific principle called electromagnetic induction, which, despite sounding complicated, is really just a fancy way of saying we trick electricity into jumping through the air. Okay, let's break it down. Wireless charging works because of electromagnetic fields. Here's how. First, the charging pad, transmitter coil. Inside your wireless charger is a coil of wire. When electricity flows through this coil, it creates an invisible magnetic field around it. Second, your phone receiver coil. Your phone has its own coil inside. When you place it on the charging pad, this coil picks up the magnetic field and converts it back into electricity. Third, charging begins. That newly generated electricity flows into your battery, and just like that, your phone starts charging. This whole process is called inductive charging, and it's the same basic principle that makes electric toothbrushes, some medical implants, and even train tracks work. So, yes, your phone is basically a high-tech toothbrush. If wireless charging works through electromagnetic fields, why can't we just charge our devices from across the room? Why do we have to carefully place them on the charging pad, only to realize it's slightly off-center, causing it not to charge at all? Well, that's because inductive charging has a very short range. The magnetic field created by the charger weakens rapidly the further you move away. It's like trying to warm yourself next to a candle. If you move too far, you stop feeling the heat. For charging to work efficiently, the coils in your charger and your device have to be perfectly aligned and really close together, usually just a few millimeters apart. Wireless charging is convenient, but it's not the most efficient way to transfer power. Here's why. First, energy loss. Some of the power gets lost as heat, which is why wireless charging pads tend to get warm. Second, slower speeds. Because of this energy loss, wireless charging is usually slower than plugging in a regular charger. Third, alignment issues. If your phone isn't lined up properly, the charging process can be even more inefficient, or just not work at all. It's like trying to pour water into a bottle without touching it. Some of it will go in, but a lot will just splash onto the table. That's why most high-speed chargers still rely on good old-fashioned cables, at least for now. Okay, so wireless charging isn't perfect. But what if we could charge our phones without even placing them on a pad? Scientists are working on resonant wireless charging, which can transfer power over longer distances. Instead of relying on just magnetic fields, this method uses resonance, basically syncing up the frequency of the charger and the device so energy can be transferred more efficiently. Some researchers are even experimenting with radio wave charging, where your phone could absorb energy floating around in the air. Imagine your phone charging just by existing in your room. That's the dream, and probably the future. Some people hear electromagnetic fields and immediately think, wait, am I microwaving my hand every time I charge my phone? The good news is wireless charging is completely safe. The electromagnetic fields used are very weak and only work over short distances, unlike something like an MRI machine, which uses powerful magnets. So, unless you're planning on sleeping on your charging pad every night, which please don't, you're totally fine. Wireless charging is definitely convenient. You can simply drop your phone on a pad and it starts charging. No cables, no fuss. It also helps reduce wear and tear on your charging ports since you're not constantly plugging and unplugging a cable. Plus, let's be honest, it just looks futuristic, which is always a bonus. However, it does have its downsides. Wireless charging is usually slower than using a wired charger, which can be frustrating if you need a quick power boost. It's also less efficient, with some energy lost as heat during the transfer process. And since the alignment between the charging pad and your device needs to be just right, it can sometimes be finicky to use. At the end of the day, wireless charging is great for everyday convenience. But if speed and efficiency matter to you, plugging in a cable is still the better option. So there you have it. Wireless charging isn't magic, but it's definitely some cool science. If you learned something new, zap that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.